Greetings, taxers and fans of Modern. This is Jason Simard, your authority on death and taxes in Modern. Today we're going to talk about some 5-0 decks off Reddit. Make sure you are subscribed to the channel to stay on top of what's happening in death and taxes in Modern. And I don't know, I play other Magic sometimes and make some other videos about it. So make sure you're there and like and comment. That's how you let us know that you like this sort of thing and you want us to keep going. So looking at this Modern League from July 12th, so some of these lists are going to be pre and post Hogak. But that's as good as we can get for now. And so most of these, I assume, are going to have started with Hogak still in the format, because I believe that was the exact day that it got banned when they ended this. So some of these decks will be finishing out. Some of them might have, played without Hogak, but it's still going to give us a good indicator because graveyards are still being used. They're still huge. It's better in your hand, is what I think. So, I am glad they got rid of Hogak, because I haven't even made any videos for a bit here because I didn't feel like playing Magic very much. It wasn't very fun when it's obviously something's very broken. I am a little concerned they probably didn't go far enough. Just get rid of the lootings, man. Look at the decks on the Modern Reddit forum there. People showed the list of decks that use Faithless Lootings, and not a lot of them do a lot of fair things. Like Mardu Pyromancer uses them, and it's a pretty fair deck. It's actually unfair how fair it is, and it just keeps grinding. But no, it's a good deck, and it does use them. But you know what? That deck would be good without those. It's just it's actually just sick value in those decks because of how you load the graveyard for value in it. But then every other deck that plays them, I mean, is basically some sort of stupid degenerate deck. I guess now the burn decks are even playing them, even though it's card disadvantage, and from deck design standpoint, that's 3 less damage to throw at your opponent. But it's just so good that there's so much value to be gained from it that people are still going to be doing it. So the format will continue to be Faithless Looting decks and decks trying to beat Faithless Looting decks, I think, for the foreseeable future. So let's buckle up, and that's the world we live in. So we're going to look at some of these results here. Let's start here. Okay, so blue-white taxes. This is Mikhail, I'm sorry if I just butchered that, but that's how I'm going to go with it, who achieved 4th place in a 51-person tournament. It doesn't say where this tournament went down, but I believe Mikhail actually posts in our Death and Taxes Facebook group. So if you're not, join us there too. There's a lot of people, a lot of good players in there discussing Death and Taxes strategies and, commenting on people's lists and discussing things. So first of all, you don't see that many blue-white lists, and this is using a lot of cool cards to do good things from the new set even too. I really like the Soul Herder. This thing, let's see if we can get it going here. 3D cast, 1 blue, 1 white, 1 colorless, Spirit, 1/1. When a creature is exiled from the battlefield, put a +1/+1 counter on it, and then at the beginning of your end step, you may exile another creature you control, then return it to play under its owner's control. So at the end of your turn, you're going to get to reflick like your Blade Splicer, your Flicker Wisp, and that is your end step. So if you do your Flicker Wisp, you can like take away their mana for their next main upkeep and main phase, or you can take away their creature for next turn so it can't attack you. You can take away your own value thing so that it'll come back at the end of the next turn. Like, say you're worried about a Wrath, you could use the Herder on the Flicker Wisp, then the Flicker Wisp will take out your Blade Splicer, and the Blade Splicer will come back during their end step. So it's I think this thing's actually pretty. I wish this was a hybrid card. Like, I can't believe they make like things like Hogak. You got to make sure you could easily cast that in any deck. And then an innocuous like fair grinder kind of card like this has got to be the hard blue-white. I'd love to play this in mono-white. But so like this guy can, first of all, he's like kill power because he gets out of control. Secondly, he just goes really good with a lot of what you're doing. I'm surprised there's only 1 Reflector Mage in this list. That's the only thing that really surprised me. He's got the Deputy of Detentions in the sideboard, but I mean, people are playing big creatures and they like them to stay out. I don't know. I would think I'd play at least 1 more of these. But anyways, you know what? That's who made this, and I do like a lot what's going on here. Another card that he's playing that I don't care for myself is Smuggler's Copter. But I mean, I could see its value. I do like how it synergizes with Blade Splicer. But I mean, even with the Givers, at least before with those Thraben Inspectors, you were never going to do anything else with the Thraben Inspector anyway. You might as well crew a Copter. But Giver, you want to keep that untapped. I don't know. Copter's just not a thing I'm a super big fan of, especially too. You got 2 Stony Silences on the board, so I guess that's an easy swipe. But then you still got your 4 Aether Vials, which go anti-synergy. Something I'm always wondering about is what people do in when you're bringing your stonies. Like, do you guys, let me know in the comments here, because I'm you know, I famously don't play Aether Vial very often. And when I do, you can go watch my video on Nikachu's. Like, it just doesn't work out for me. Some games it does, but you know what? I think I would have won those games without Aether Vial. Like, that's how I see it. Like, people say it's the best card, but in your deck, but it's like, I don't care if it's the best card. I care, do I win games that I would lose without, like, if I didn't have it? And the answer, I don't think, is yes that often. I think, you know, it does help you, but is it helping you win the game? Like, or is it just helping you do cool, fun things that you enjoy doing? And I mean, that's also a good, valid thing, but when I'm going to tournaments, I want consistency. I want my, you know, like, I don't want to have to get it in my starting hand for it to be useful to me. I don't, you know, because that's like playing a luck game. Like, over more and more matches, you're going to suffer from it. And these decks, like now, I'd say almost every DnT deck's almost down to 22 lands. And I mean, a year ago, you'd never see that. Always 23 with the 4 Aether Vials. So it's like we're starting to you know, cut on lands in order to do this. So it's like when you have to side out your Aether Vials, or they're going to have, you know, anti-synergies with Stony Silence and stuff, like, I don't know. That's not how I like to play, and especially big tournaments, you're going to play lots of rounds. So, you know, let me know, what do you guys do? Do you cut all your Aether Vials and just hope to get lucky with your mana, or do you just have Stony Silences and Aether Vials, hope to use the Aether Vial again, then drop the Stony? I don't know. Let me know. I'm very curious about it. But yeah, so the Forgiver of Ruins, which is like, you know, I don't know, a given these days, right? It's looking like. Arbiters, you know, classic tech stuff. I like this deck a lot. I thought it was a really nice looking deck. I'm surprised there's no Mariner in it, but I mean, I don't know, maybe that's not that useful to them. I don't know. I like that. It's an interesting card I'd like to see played. Anything else really interesting? Geist I like a lot. I would almost even consider at least one in the main, because he's just filthy. It runs away with the game sometimes. Only 2 Rest in Pieces. That is impressive. Oh, three Selfless Spirits. This is the graveyard one, right? Yeah. No, this is Indestructible. Huh. Wow. Well, I mean, maybe he knows his mana, and it wasn't that graveyardy, because I would think two Rest in Pieces would scare me. Okay, anyway, so I like that deck. Congratulations, Mikhail. And yeah, good luck in your future endeavors. So on to July 12th. Is it? Yeah, July 12th results from Modern Leagues. Peanups, who's a black-white Eldrazi Tax's savior of ours, you know, like somebody who we have a lot of respect for, put up a lot of decent results with it, some very good ones, I think. And but he's hung up his black mana symbols, it looks like, because we're going mono-white, traded in Reality Smashers and stuff for Restoration Angels, which I like. I thought this deck looks cool. It's got no Eldrazi in it, eh? So 4 Blade Splicers, 4 Flicker Wisps, the Givers to protect your stuff, 4 Remorseful Clerics, 4 Thalias, so classic tax stuff, 2 Big Thalias. So yeah, I mean, this deck looks really good. 4 Aether Vials, 4 Paths, 22 land, 4 Ghost Quarters, 3 Silent Clearings, 4 Tech Edges, which I'm seeing more of these, and you know what, with all the blue-white control, like, now that you're starting to see Cryptic Command be like super dominant again, that's when it's time to tech edge people. So I for a long time, like, you know, I hadn't been playing them, but I would strongly consider playing them again now, because there's just more people going that far into the game, and like even against Eldrazi Tron, like they need their mana. You know, Tron itself, like, although I just hate how late to the party killing. Once Tron has 4 lands out, I can kill one of your lands. That's not how I like to do business, you know. Because of all his white mana, though, he has access to 4 on Thin Ices in the board to just have 4 paths and 4 on Thin Ices against the aggro decks. Like, that sounds nice to me. Settle, a Ravenous Trap. So this must have been in Go deck. I don't think you'd be playing Ravenous Trap still if, you know, the True Scourge wasn't there. You're not going to have this for Arclight, I don't think. The one Gideon there is probably for more control stuff, and a Burrington Furge Tender for all these red decks. So like lots of really cheap spells in this deck with removal in particular. 4 paths, 4 on Thin Ice, like that's, and no damage. You don't do any damage to yourself. So against all these red decks, so I'd like, this looks like a good list. I might almost wonder if Tech Edges versus Field of Ruins, though. Like, I'd like to see how they perform, because like Field of Ruins, you could just hit them. Like when they're like, look at blue-white, they play their Field of Ruins very aggressively. Like they'll just tap out on turn 3 to Field of Ruin you, because it's a strong play in Modern. So okay, so yeah, congrats Peanups on your 5-0 trophy. Here we have Artie Mac with a 5-0 on the Chalice version. 2 Winds of Abandonment, 2 Dismembers, 2 Sudden Shocks. These are showing up in more and more of these versions. I guess the split second, you can take things out before they can respond. You can take people out before they can respond. I mean, it gives you a bit of reach. When I had a few games, especially against Control, where they just stabilized at 1 or 2, and what are you going to do? So, I mean, Sudden Shock makes quite a bit of sense. And you know what? 3 Dismembers, I was feeling the pain. Against the aggro decks, you're like, oh, I drew double Dismember. It's like, he wants to bolt me, and I'm bolting myself. Like, do I let it hit me? It's less damage. So, yeah, 24 land, 4 Simian Spirit Guides, Battlefield Forges, Eldrazi Temples, Gemstone Caverns. When I was playing this deck, though, I was finding 3 to be too many. Like, I love this card, though, and I think that more Taxes decks, like, whatever Taxes deck you're playing, especially Eldrazi versions, you should be considering just jamming these things, because to be honest, these things won me maybe more games than even Chalice of the Void won when I was playing this deck, because when you're going second, you lose lots. Like, that's just the name of the game. So every time you're going second and you happen to have one of these in your hands, you can actually have a good chance of winning that game, where you just wouldn't have a chance no matter what your cards were. They're just coming out too fast, they have too much mana, playing too many spells before you can get your footing down. So this just allows you to break that serve, like in tennis where they're serving just so hard, you're able to just tap it back. So I really, really am enjoying these, but I think 2 is where you want to be. When you're on the play, especially when you're playing these reality smashers and stuff, like I had hands where it's like you have 1 gemstone and 1 land, but you got like 2 value creatures and a Simian Spirit Guide. Like, you got to keep this hand. And then you end up drawing another gemstone, and it's like, oh, I can't even get this land out so that if I top deck a land, I can play my Thought-Knots here or something. Like, I don't know. I just wasn't liking 3 of them. And also, this waste. I think this waste is, I don't know. You have no way to search for it, so if you're playing around Blood Moon, I guess like the big thing I'm thinking is like it might be there for when you get Field of Ruin, but you got so much colorless mana in this deck. I don't think that should be too much of a problem. And so yeah, the Blood Moon's the biggest factor, I think. And you know what? Like, the only time somebody played a Blood Moon with me, I just killed them with the creatures I already had out. Like, Blood Moon's not a great strategy right now in Modern. Even the Pyromancer decks, who would utilize the heck out of it, they get basic lands out of their deck to play their spells often. No Blood Moons these days. Like, it's just too slow. People are able to, you can't take turn 3 off to do something to try to screw people unless you're in a very specific deck. Like, we do that. That's what our deck does, so it's not so bad for us to do stuff like that. So, yeah, anyway. So, but yeah, this is pretty stock, like what we're seeing lately. Only 3 Honor Guards, which I cannot say I agree with. Humans, I found to be an abysmal matchup. I have played it twice. I've lost each of the game 1s, and I ended up winning the match each time by mulling till I got Honor Guard. And they just couldn't get rid of it, and I end up playing 4 4s and 5 5s. They play 1 1s, 1 2s, and 2 2s. Like, that's 1 3s. That's all they got, and it just shuts down their actual entire deck. Like, yeah, it's a really funny thing to have happen. Like, I had nothing going on at all, and the 1 3 itself is actually able to block them good. They have no instant stuff to screw you over. Like, it's just hilarious. So I think you need the 4. I'd even think of if I knew I was gonna be playing humans a lot, I'd even have a Torpor Orb as well, because that's not a good matchup. They just go so wide, so big, so fast. Worship, I don't like Worship. Stop playing these in your sideboard, guys. I don't know. Maybe these guys are getting there with it, but okay, like, there's only a few decks I can think of that just can't kill you with this out and cannot get rid of it. Like, Humans has Deputy Detentions. They have, I don't even know what else, but I know they have those deputies. That's easy for them to get rid of it. They can also just keep the creatures out of play, like with Reflector. Like, we're not playing 10 creatures. Like, we have often, like, our play area is like 3 creatures, 2 creatures. Sometimes it's just 1 sitting there. So and then when you're siding in Worship, you're probably siding out creatures. Like, unless you're taking out your Chalices, which I guess in the Humans you probably are, at least on the draw you are. I don't know. I just found the matchup to be abysmal with Humans. I gotta remind you, play 4 honors. Yeah. So the Worship, though, it's like, Hardened Scales. They can make their infect, like, the Ink Moth, and kill you with it. I don't know. There's just so many things that it can go wrong with it. I don't care for that. Leyline of the Voids over Rest in Pieces. You just don't have time. Like, with this deck, what I really liked is that you're able to get, like, with Gemstones and Simian Spirit Guides, you can get that Rest in Peace down on your first turn, even on the draw, like, before they can get out of hand. So I don't know if I agree with Leylines, because, they're really bad in your hand. And when you draw them and they don't help, like, there's lots of games where you could top deck a Rest in Peace and you end up just winning. Like, So I don't know. I disagree with this, but I mean, hey, that's they're the ones who achieved the 5-0. So and one engineered explosives, I guess. I don't know. You can get it up to 2 counters with this deck, and maybe 3 if you're lucky. Yeah, I don't know. I don't really like engineered explosives in these decks, but sometimes you need to explode things, so getting rid of permanences is good. Okay, what do we have here? Chaos Mind, Black-White Taxes, 22 lands, 4 Aether Vials, usual, like Concealed Courtyards, Caves, Silent Clearings, Temple, Ghost Quarter, 2 Plains, 1 Swamp, 4 Aether Vials, 4 Path to Exiles, no other removal in the main, 4 Displacers, 4 Flicker Wisps, Givers. So yeah, you're just doing the Tide Hollow Sculler, Wasteland Strangler combo, Flicker Wisp, remove something, then process it with your Wasteland Strangler back into... Oh, that's so filthy when they get that going. I've lost to that a few times. To be honest, like with the white value decks, like especially with the Wall of Omens and stuff, there's a lot of draws where like this isn't even all that good, but definitely it's like when they Flicker Wisp and remove something and then put it then strangle your creature and your land's gone. It's like, oh my god, this game is over. So yeah, I don't know. Black-White Tax has got some real dirty moves, and it has fairly consistently been 5-0 lately. So don't just get off it. Oh, Plague Engineer. One of my this card is sick. Make sure Death Touch 2. Hey, it's only your opponents. Like that's crazy. Come on, give me a break. This thing is sick. I'd get a playset soon because I think that card is gonna be in a lot of sideboards. I'd even consider playing it in the main. I might even trade. Yeah, why wouldn't you play this maybe even in the main? It's still a creature against. I was watching against even blue-white control. You name wizards, like their Snapcasters are just gonna die. If they have Vendilion Cleats, they're just dead. Like I really enjoy this thing. This thing is really good. It's very versatile, very strong card. Very worth playing black for, I think. So anyways, yeah, Phyrexian Revoker, Kambal, I never had that much success with Kambal, but, I never really got him when it's up against the combos, and then, yeah, he's alright. He's a cool card. He does some pretty dirty stuff. It's attacks in a different direction, right? 2 Rest in Peace, 2 Stony Silence. That's it, eh? 2 Rest in Peace? Wow. So some people are skimping on the graveyard, and they're hating. They're getting places still, too. So, and like I said, these are, like, during the Hogak era. So anyways, yeah, Black-White Taxes, still good deck. Don't give up on it. Okay, so is that my last deck? Yeah, so my last deck here is actually not a tax deck per se, although it's got Thalias, come on. But it's just a mono white, it actually looks just awesome, I think. This Rebus 8, congratulations on your 5-0 with this really, really pretty original kind of white weenie tax deck. One of the coolest things in here, this Sky Hussar. Blue, white, and 3. When it comes into play, untap all creatures you control, 4/3 flying. For 5, but the forecast: tap 2 untap white and or blue creatures you control, reveal it from your hand to draw a card. So every turn he just gets his own Howling Mine going by tapping like 2 pretty crappy creatures. I really enjoy that. I think that looks very interesting. I'm actually might put this together and just see how it rolls. I'm really enjoying this Force of Virtue with Rangers and Squadron Hawks. So it's just like it's not even going to cost you nothing to get this out cheap. So I don't know. This deck looks fun as heck. I thought we'd include it. Let me know what you think. If if you guys would be interested in seeing this kind of a deck run too, or do we want to just stick to the taxes? What else? What do we got on the sideboard? Ceremonious Rejection. How many blue? Flooded. Oh, 2, 3 Hollowed Fountains. Okay, yeah. So Ceremonious. Okay. Elixir Immortality. I wonder what that's all about. Yeah, I got some cool cards in here. That's for sure. A little more counter magic. That's nice to have access to that stuff, eh? Yeah. Anyway, so. That's what's going on there, and as for myself, I've been playing the Chalice version in real life through the Hogak ban, but I'm very glad that he's gone. I'm kind of thinking about going back to more value-based then, but I don't know. I got a month to decide because I got a big tournament here in Winnipeg for a big cash prize, the Fusion 5K, and then there's a couple, like face-to-face face-to-face games is putting on a big tournament here for I think $1,000 first prize in credit or something like that, and that's in October, something like that, September. So I got some big tournaments and I'd like to be in good game playing shape because you guys watch the show. I don't get to play that much, so I don't play as good as I could if I was practicing a lot, I have to admit. So I actually went out to Thursday night. I only went 2-2. Very close games that I lost, very close games I won. I don't know, that Chalice deck is very swingy, and Red, he got, in the last round, I had to double Maul, and I almost got there still. He had the top deck before he died, and he got the exact 3, and, burned me out. So, but I did achieve a top 4 in about, I think, 50 people type tournament in Winnipeg here, with a pretty good prize. We ended up just chopping the top 4 once the expected value got high enough. I think I got 275 credit. I could have got 500 if I would have played for it all day, and I was actually getting pretty lucky. But you know what? It was a long day of playing Magic too, and I wasn't playing as good. And I thought it was maybe smart to get enough credit to get a set of these stupid lands from Modern Horizons. So don't get me started about that. So yeah, okay. So good luck out there. Join me. Make sure you're subscribed to the channel here, and to stay on top of what's happening with Death and Taxes. And I'll get some gameplay video up for this week, so join us there.